Have you ever caught a fleeting glimpse of a stranger on the street who looked exactly like you? The sensation is surely one of surprise and mystery, as if you've suddenly seen yourself through a different lens. But try to imagine how that astonishment would grow if that identical double wasn't standing before you today, but was instead someone who lived and passed away centuries ago. This is no longer a simple coincidence. It is a puzzle that challenges every law of nature. Is there a secret bloodline between them, buried by the passage of time? Or have we accidentally touched a glitch in time, a place where great souls find a hidden path to return to the world of the living? Tonight, we will conduct a grand investigation together. We will open archival files that have never been made public to decode the mystery of 13 black celebrities who possess identical doubles from a different era in the past. Who were they truly? And why did nature decide to bring those faces back after hundreds of years of history? Are we looking at people who merely happen to look alike, or are we unintentionally exposing a century-spanning journey by those who wish to cheat death? The truth may be even more staggering than anything you can imagine. Hold your breath as we begin this journey right now. 1. The Rebels duplicate Tupac Shakur and Silas Thorne. During the 2015 restoration of a historic site, a primitive metal photograph was unearthed, revealing a face so perfectly preserved after 150 years that it left forensic researchers in awe, a startling identical twin to the modern black icon staring back from over a century ago. The man in this 1868 portrait possesses a defiant, squared jawline and those signature, proud lips. His eyes hold a profound depth, a fiery spirit that is unmistakable. Every proportion, from the slope of his brow to the precise contours of his face, matches the 1990s legend with absolute perfection. Tupac Shakur. At first, forensic experts suspected a sophisticated, time-traveling digital hoax. However, the physical verification of the metal plate's age silenced every doubt. This photograph was truly captured in 1868, a time when digital manipulation was a concept beyond imagination. According to historical fragments preserved at the Schomburg Center in Harlem, the man in the photo was identified as Silas Shadow Montgomery, a policy banker in the underground numbers games that once thrived in the Sugar Hill district. In the 1930s, this was a massive underground financial empire, serving as the economic backbone for the black community, helping people survive the crushing poverty of the Great Depression. Silas was known for his discretion and his ability to navigate complex cash networks, often being seen quietly observing his empire from street corners with the aura of an uncrowned king. The mystery deepened when the photograph was magnified under laser imaging. On Silas's pinky finger, a black onyx ring became visible, engraved with the image of a snarling panther. This was more than jewelry. It was the mark of the Night Panthers, a secret society sworn to protect their lineage and people at any cost against the oppression of the era. Following old records to a Savannah jail, another shocking link emerged. A rebel named Silas Thorne, possessing this exact same face, had been imprisoned there. But on a stormy night in 1870, he vanished from a locked solitary cell without a trace. Exactly 103 years after that mysterious disappearance, in 1971, Tupac Shakur was born. Not only did he inherit the exact face of the man from that 1868 photograph, but Tupac also grew up in a family rooted in the Black Panther's spirit. He spent his short life becoming the most powerful voice of resistance in modern music history. The connection between a rebel who vanished in 1870 and a musical icon born in 1971 creates a cycle of destiny that is difficult to explain. Was Tupac Shakur truly an individual of his own time, or was he the delayed journey of Silas Thorne, finally reaching his destination a century late? 2. The Royal Bridge, Queen Latifah and Beatrice Vance. In an entertainment world dominated by rigid molds, Queen Latifah stands as an uncrowned sovereign, a woman who single-handedly dismantled the stereotypes of beauty and submission for black women. But few realize that her regal aura wasn't built overnight. It appears to be a legacy handed down from a brilliant soul nearly a century ago. History draws us back to Harlem in 1935, the heart of secret cultural salons. There, Beatrice Bessie Vance, known as the Scholar of the Blues, was a name that commanded respect among the intelligentsia. She didn't just sing of sorrow, she studied the power of African matriarchal tribes and the ways women led entire lineages. Beatrice possessed a face that was delicate yet profoundly commanding, a perfect mirror of the Queen Latifah we know today. From those wise, knowing eyes to a dignified presence that could command any room. The mystery truly deepened in 1988. While tearing down an old apartment in the historic Sugar Hill district, construction workers discovered an amber leather trunk hidden behind a false wall. Inside was a treasure lost to time, a black velvet coat embroidered with intricate tribal patterns in gold thread. It was the exact garment Beatrice wore in the last photograph ever taken of her. Then, a coincidence occurred that defies logic. That very coat somehow found its way into a vintage shop and caught the eye of Queen Latifah's stylist. In 1989, Latifah stepped onto an award show stage wearing that same black velvet coat with its gold tribal embroidery. Those who knew the history of Harlem were stunned. It wasn't just a similarity in fashion. It felt like the living, breathing presence of Beatrice Vance. It is said that the very first time Latifah put on that coat, she sat down and wrote the classic anthem, "Ladies First," in just 10 minutes. More astonishingly, the structure and message of that song mirrored the final unfinished lines of Beatrice's 1940 manuscript with haunting precision. It leaves us with a lingering question. Was that coat a physical bridge, allowing Beatrice to fulfill her oath of queens through Queen Latifah? 3. The identity of resistance, Ice Cube and Elias Thorne. In the long arc of history, anger is often more than a fleeting emotion, but a legacy preserved within the very bloodline of a people. Our story travels back to Savannah, Georgia, in 1880, a time when the suffocating weight of Jim Crow laws defined life for Black Americans. But there was one name shattering that quiet. Elias Thorne, a specter in the criminal records with a voice like thunder that the law feared most. To the government of that era, Elias was a highly dangerous rebel. His files were marked with serious charges, inciting a riot and spreading anti-government sentiment. His true crime, however, was his defiance. He secretly organized self-defense classes for his community. An early mugshot from 1880 captured his face just before he was led away to a cell. Elias possessed a signature defiant scowl, a look so powerful and intimidating that it reportedly unsettled the prison guards. That identical look became the trademark of a 1990s rap icon, Ice Cube. From the hardened jawline to the uncompromising stare, it feels as though the same man is looking back at us from across 2 different centuries. The similarity goes far deeper than a physical resemblance. It is rooted in the very soul of rebellion. In 1880, Elias Thorne was convicted for writing a pamphlet titled Defying Unjust Laws. Exactly 100 years later, Ice Cube penned the world-shaking anthem, Fuck the Police. This parallel raises haunting questions about a specific DNA of resistance, a spirit that seems to be passed down entirely intact, unweathered by time. 4. The Mask of Tragedy, Eddie Murphy and Jack Leroy. Deep in the French Quarter of New Orleans, the elders tell stories of a man who could change his voice like the wind and wear a smile that lit up the darkest speakeasy. His name was Jack Leroy, the jester of 1920. He vanished from the history books long ago, but this long-buried secret recently resurfaced when a stray playbill from the Lyric Theater was unexpectedly discovered in the dust of an ancient French library. On that weathered, yellowed parchment, Jack Leroy's face stares back with startling clarity. The most striking detail is his grin, a wide, luminous smile so powerful that audiences once swore he could literally swallow their sorrows whole. When modern audiences first saw a young Eddie Murphy burst onto the screen in the 1980s, the resemblance was so absolute it bordered on the impossible. But this eerie connection transcends mere physical traits. As Eddie Murphy began his meteoric rise to fame, elderly residents in New Orleans, Those who had seen Jack Leroy perform in their youth were struck by a sense of profound disbelief. They claimed that every mischievous wink, every staccato burst of laughter, and even the subtle tilt of the head were carbon copies of the 1920 jester. A haunting question of spiritual rebirth begins to take shape behind the scenes of history. Is genius truly born, or is it a costume that a soul puts on for a second, more magnificent encore? Perhaps Eddie Murphy's signature smile isn't entirely his own. It may be the very same theatrical mask Jack Leroy left behind on the stage of time, waiting 60 years for a worthy successor to wear it once again. In the grand theater of life, it seems the curtain never truly stays down. 5. The Time Thief, Denzel Washington, and Darius Vane. In the natural flow of life, time is a tyrant that shows no mercy to human beauty. Yet, in the heart of Richmond, Virginia, there seems to be an exception that has endured for centuries. Our story begins behind a dusty mirror in a Virginia antique shop where a small oil-on-wood portrait was accidentally discovered. The man in the painting, captured in 1750, was known as Darius Vane. Darius was a stoic shipwright, living under the iron discipline of the early colonial era. Amidst the hardships of the pioneer days, he was famous for his skilled hands and a trait that baffled his contemporaries. Darius reportedly did not age a single day during his 40 years of grueling labor. When this portrait is placed alongside the face of Denzel Washington, a cinematic icon born in 1954 who remains commanding in the year 2025, historical collectors were left in a state of shock. Two faces, separated by nearly 275 years, yet identical in every line and every piercing gaze, as if time itself had simply lost its power over them. The connection between these two men goes beyond their physical appearance. It touches upon the mystery of eternal youth. Darius embodied integrity and precision, while Denzel represents a deep internal power and calm authority. However, both possess an uncanny ability to freeze their own aging process. In 1750, Darius's neighbors whispered about a secret he held that kept his youthful dignity intact while the world grew old around him. Today, the world asks the same questions about Denzel Washington. Could it be that there are those who never truly age, but simply discard their names to continue a journey across the centuries? 6. The Architecture of Command, Lawrence Fishburne and Marcus Freeman. In the world of cinema, Lawrence Fishburne is renowned as a man of profound composure. There is a rare sense of security whenever audiences look upon his face. A natural-born leader's aura radiates from him, the essence of a protector who seems to have stepped right out of the most heroic pages of history. Yet, have we ever stopped to wonder, is the presence of a leader something earned through practice, or is it an identity destined long before birth? The answer may lie hidden within the dust of time, where the past and the present have unexpectedly met in a way that defies belief. It all began with a tattered 1870 military manual discovered in the National Archives. Within those pages, researchers came across a portrait of Captain Marcus Freeman, a soldier who bravely kept the peace in Washington, D.C. in the year 1868. Upon looking at this ancient metal photograph, everyone present gasped in astonishment. One researcher on the scene couldn't help but exclaim in disbelief, "My lord, this is the face of Lawrence Fishburne." Every detail, from the squared, rock-solid jawline to the deep, commanding eyes, was an identical match of impossible proportions. Those who witnessed the moment recall that Lawrence gazed at the image for a long time without saying a single word, simply reaching out to gently touch the eyes of the man in the portrait. He did not feel fear. Instead, he felt a strange, profound stirring of emotion. He saw himself, but in a different life from over a century ago. Experts compared the two faces and found a completely natural, perfect alignment. The true wonder lies in this. These two men share no blood relation whatsoever. This is quite simply a beautiful coincidence of creation. Captain Freeman once used that same dignified presence to protect his community after the Civil War. And today, Lawrence Fishburne uses that very same aura to inspire millions through the silver screen. This accidental convergence reminds us that no matter how much time passes, the faces of courage and compassion will always find a way to return. 7. The $1,000,000 Smile, Will Smith and Bennett Wright. In the Hollywood spotlight, Will Smith has always shined in his own unique way thanks to his radiant smile, a weapon overflowing with hope and optimism that has captured millions of hearts. Yet few realize that this very smile appeared and changed the lives of many more than a century ago. Our journey leads us to Cincinnati in 1905, an era of bright aspirations. Among the grand estates of Ohio, Bennett Wright emerged as a true symbol of Black excellence. As a real estate broker and transport pioneer, Bennett built a reputation for closing $1,000,000 deals using that same unstoppable weapon, a golden smile. This long-buried connection became a sensation when facial recognition software linked a vintage family portrait of Bennett to none other than Will Smith. In the 1905 photograph, Bennett stands beside a state-of-the-art carriage, possessing those familiar ears and eyes, overflowing with the same optimism that would one day define a global superstar. When the photograph of Bennett Wright was first placed in front of Will Smith, the room did not grow cold with fear or unease. Instead, the actor erupted into a laugh of pure, infectious astonishment. His eyes lit up with a vibrant curiosity as he held the vintage print, turning it over in the light and shaking his head in disbelief at the extraordinary coincidence. "This is unbelievable. It's like looking at a version of myself from another lifetime, a mirror that cuts through a century. And this man is winking back at me, telling me to keep that same positive energy alive for the world today," Will remarked with genuine delight as he pointed at the image. 8. Laughter from the Beyond, Tracy Morgan and Thomas Jenkins. If a smile had its own map, Tracy Morgan's grin would surely lead us back to Pennsylvania 170 years ago. Following a devastating accident in 2014, Tracy returned from the brink of death with a heart full of gratitude and a new mission: to use laughter as a form of healing. Yet perhaps that strength does not come from him alone, but is a gift passed down from the depths of the past. One day, while turning the yellowed pages of a journal belonging to an old Philadelphia family, historians discovered a silver-plated portrait of a man named Thomas Jenkins. In 1850, Thomas was no celebrity, but he was a legendary traveling storyteller, a man who used humor to warm the souls of the weary along the Underground Railroad. Known by the nickname Ticklish, he carried his witty tales to those exhausted on their journey to freedom. When the photograph of Thomas is placed beside Tracy Morgan today, the resemblance is staggering. From the wide, expressive eyes to the radiant smile, the two appear like identical twins separated by nearly 2 centuries. Witnessing this uncanny alignment, one cannot help but wonder, does each of us carry a piece of the past within us? And as Tracy Morgan stands on stage today, is it possible that Ticklish Thomas is borrowing those eyes and that voice to finish the song of joy he began so long ago in the 1850s? 9. The Curse of the Serenade, John Legend and Silas Sterling. Before we turn the next page of this story, let's ponder a question. Could the legend we trust to sing of grace be the silent vessel for a century-old secret, hiding a melody that was once used not to heal the heart, but to signal its betrayal? To the world, John Legend was a pillar of grace, an Ivy League soul who mended a divided world with his song. Yet, far from the applause, a riddle waited in the shadows of 1892 Louisiana. There, a rogue buffalo soldier named Silas Sterling etched a final cryptic melody into a stone cell wall before vanishing into the mists of history. To the world, John Legend was a pillar of grace, an Ivy League soul who mended a divided world with his song. Yet, far from the applause, a riddle waited in the shadows of 1892 Louisiana. There, a rogue buffalo soldier named Silas Sterling etched a final cryptic melody into a stone cell wall before vanishing into the mists of history. This forgotten score, the Blood Moon Serenade, remained a silent relic until modern musicologists discovered its truth. The notes were an identical match to Legend's masterpiece, All of Me. But where one man sang of devotion, The other used those same rhythms as a signal for movement in the dead of night. It forces us to wonder, was Legend's life a cosmic endeavor to redeem a troubled spirit? Or did Silas Sterling simply find a perfect new identity to carry his song into the next century? 10. The Silent Echo, Danny Glover and Lucas Miller. Just think on this. Is it possible for a soul to spend an entire lifetime trying to wash the blood off hands that belong to a different century? It began with a heart-stopping moment in a New Orleans archive. A historian scanning 1870 tintypes froze as a face from the silver plate stared back, the unmistakable double of Danny Glover. Historical records identify him as Sergeant Lucas Miller, a complex figure lost to the turbulent shadows of the Reconstruction era. Lucas possessed the exact heavy, world-weary brow and the deep-set, soulful eyes that have become Danny's trademark. Every line on his face, from the prominent square jawline to the specific arch of the cheekbones, seemed to have been traced directly onto Glover's own features 117 years later. The declassified municipal ledgers from 1870 New Orleans said that, under this stolen veneer of authority, Miller operated as a regulator, a shadow assassin documented in private syndicate payrolls for his role in silencing black leaders who fought for their newly won freedoms. The true mystery lies in the discovery of Lucas's suicide note in the prison, "I'm too old for this shit." Why would the universe preserve the exact features of a man known as the Mist Scythe, a cold-blooded enforcer of the old New Orleans underworld, and grant them to one of the most beloved humanitarians of our time? When shown the image, Glover didn't recoil. He touched the frame with trembling hands and whispered, "I see a sadness I've carried my whole life without knowing why. If this man is who I was, I owe him a life of kindness." To the world today, Danny Glover is a pillar of humanity, a hero who fights for the underdog and works to heal our communities. This leaves us to wonder, is Danny's legendary humanitarian work a personal choice or a cosmic mission of redemption? 11. The Architect of Colors, Tyler, the Creator, and Barnaby Finch. In the modern music scene, Tyler, the Creator, is an artist of vibrant suits and eccentric hats, a man who defies every rule to assert his own unique identity. Yet, few realize that this same colorful, rebellious spirit burned brightly within the heart of another man nearly 2 centuries ago. This mystery only came to light when historians at the Society of Antiquaries of London were conducting a routine inventory of relics at an ancient estate. Inside a sealed oak chest, they discovered a rare 1850 daguerreotype, a silver-plated photograph from the dawn of the camera age. The resemblance was more than a coincidence. It was a biological haunting. This was a one anatomical match that defied logic. The exact distance between the pupils, carrying that same mad genius glint, the wide, distinct structure of the palate, and the specific rebellious tilt of the head were identical. It appeared as if the same restless spirit was looking into a lens 2 centuries apart, simply wearing the clothes of a different era. A rigorous investigation was launched through archival records and 19th century New England artist registries. The results confirmed his identity as Barnaby Finch, a freelance illustrator who had been shunned by contemporary critics for a use of color deemed excessive by the rigid standards of the Victorian era. As the dust of time was cleared away through modern restoration techniques, everyone in the room fell into a stunned silence. From the mischievous, fiery glint in his eyes to the defiant tilt of his head. They weren't looking at a nameless soldier or a distant politician. They were staring at the image of Tyler himself. When using biometric scanning software for comparison, researchers discovered a match down to the millimeter in the distance between the pupils and the specific width of the jawline. Even Tyler, when first shown this portrait during an art history interview, was left completely speechless. He couldn't hide his delight, exclaiming in pure astonishment, "Look at this! He loves strange hats and bright colors just like me." This is entirely a whimsical coincidence of nature, a moment where 2 individuals with no shared bloodline possess the same creative DNA. It is as if the universe ensures that in every age, a soul is born to shatter the gray, a guardian of vibrance who returns, century after century, to paint the world in the colors of courage and imagination. 12. The King of Auburn Avenue, Ludacris and JW Mhouse. In the heart of Atlanta, along the historic stones of Auburn Avenue, the superstar Ludacris once came face to face with a past that left him breathless. Standing before a display of newly unearthed relics, his gaze locked onto a tarnished silver plate photograph from the year 1890. Staring back at him was a man with the same piercing, calculating eyes and that signature, trademark mustache, a mirror image of the icon himself. The man in the frame was J.W. Mhouse, a figure who once commanded the very streets Ludacris calls home. For over a century, the name Mhouse had vanished into the fog of the Deep South until a demolition crew accidentally shattered a hidden basement wall on Auburn Avenue. Behind the old brickwork sat a small tin box, preserving a forgotten history, ledgers of an underground empire, and this single, pristine portrait. In 1890, Mhouse hid in plain sight as a high-end barber. Yet, behind the scent of bay rum, he was the secret king of the speakeasies, a master of the hustle long before the world had a name for it. The resemblance between the modern icon and this 19th century outlaw sent a cold shiver through those who witnessed it. Every anatomical marker, from the unyielding ridge of the jawline to the sharp taper of the cheekbones, aligned with haunting precision. But beyond the physical, there was the unmistakable aura of a ruler. Both men shared the steel gaze of a strategist, the look of a man who dominates every room he enters. It appeared as if Mhouse hadn't simply died in the shadows of old Atlanta, but had waited 100 years to be reborn under the blinding lights of the global stage. This staggering coincidence forces us to question the very nature of destiny. Do the men who truly own the soul of a city ever really leave? Or do they simply wait in the shadows for the times to change, finally stepping back into the light to reclaim a throne they never truly gave up? 13. The Pulp Fiction Prophecy, Samuel L. Jackson and Obadiah King. In the world of movies, Samuel L. Jackson stands tall with a voice that sounds like rolling thunder. He has a way of speaking that makes you listen, especially when he delivers those famous lines from the film Pulp Fiction. Most people think those words came from a Hollywood script in 1994, but a shocking discovery in the Deep South tells a very different story. It all started in New Orleans, tucked away in a dusty old police file from the year 1888. Inside was a charcoal drawing of a man named Obadiah King. Back then, folks called him the Mad Prophet because of the way he could make the trees tremble with his powerful Sunday sermons. When you look at his face, you don't see a stranger. You see the exact face of Samuel L. Jackson. From the deep lines on his forehead to that fiery, righteous look in his eyes, the resemblance is simply unbelievable. But the real mystery is what Obadiah was actually saying. Historians found old, brittle notes of his very last sermon from over 130 years ago. In the sweltering heat of the Louisiana night, Obadiah was heard shouting these exact words: "The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish." Now here is the part that will make you stop and think. Those words aren't actually in the traditional Bible we read in church. They were made up by a writer for a movie just 30 years ago. So how did a country preacher in 1888 cry out those same scripted words long before Hollywood even existed? It makes you wonder if that famous speech wasn't written at all, but was, instead, a spirit waiting in the Louisiana winds for over a century, just waiting for a man with the right voice to finally give it life again. The files are closed, but the questions linger in the stillness. We often think of history as a straight line, but perhaps it is more like a mirror, reflecting the same souls over and over until they finally get it right. Is it merely a chance, or is the universe trying to tell us that no story is ever truly finished? If you found these stories worth exploring, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that we can uncover more mysteries and hidden corners of Hollywood that haven't been unveiled yet.